What's up, Ravens fans? Welcome into a Week 12 edition of Ravens Unscripted. This team is rolling 6 straight wins and now a huge matchup on Monday Night Football. A lot to sort through. We have an all-Ravens media couch, Ryan, John, and Cliff to help us do so. And fellas, we start with 4 downs. Mink, you're in the hot seat, so you get first crack at this. Were you surprised by the dominant victory against a Houston Texans team that we all thought, especially those of us doing the game for CBS, thought was going to be a back-and-forth shootout?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like Earl Thomas said after the game, I didn't think we were going to do them like that. You know, I mean, whew! Yeah, this game was by far, well, John will talk to it. John thought it was going to be a shootout. He wrote it as much. But I thought it was going to be a close game. These are 2 of the best teams in the AFC. I thought this was going to be a huge measuring stick game for the Ravens. I mean, it still was.
I think it was.
They just surpassed it.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of game, it's crazy. The Ravens won this game. My father-in-law was in attendance, and he went home that night and started looking for Airbnbs in Miami.
Wow.
I mean, that's what this kind of game, that's what this game was. It was an
Airbnb game?
We might go to the Super Bowl game. We might go to Miami. That kind of game.
I think what was a surprise was the fact that Houston just did nothing offensively. I think what was not a surprise at all was that Lamar Jackson had another big day. I mean, I think everybody expected that. As I wrote, expected a shootout. Well, it was half a shootout, but what happened to Houston? I mean, great performance by the Ravens defense, and certainly the most suffocating of the year. So that's what makes you think maybe something big is happening here. The offense is set. Here comes the defense.
Yeah, and they're keeping their foot on the gas pedal. I mean, what they've done, we always thought first we're saying, oh, road game, trap game, Patriots game. One of these games is going to get the Ravens.
This was the Watson game.
Exactly. Yeah. It hasn't happened. So that makes you feel good about a young team, 22-year-old quarterback, a lot of new players, young players, that is keeping its focus every week. To pound them like that, coming off of another pounding the week before and a pounding the week before that. Very impressive.
All right, it's the still unsponsored Lamar Jackson second down. John, I'm really spending some time thinking of what's a way that we can describe or discuss Lamar that we haven't already. The passing numbers are great. He had another fantastic run. So what was your Lamar takeaway from Week 11?
I have nothing left to say. I mean, there's just nothing. I've run out of adjectives, and I'm an adjective guy.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. I'll tell you what.
It felt like the MVP week to me, and maybe trying to keep an outside perspective. And look, there's still a lot of season still to go, but this felt like the week was like, okay, this is legitimate. Like he really has put himself either at the top or near the top with Russell Wilson for this MVP run.
So I think if Lamar goes out to L.A., beats the Rams in that good offense or defense on Monday Night Football, then comes back home against the 49ers and that ferocious defense with that front and beats them, I think Lamar locks it up. And to me, it was his best pocket passing game. I thought the way he looked in the pocket and delivered from the pocket, which is what a lot of critics have been waiting for, can he deliver from the pocket? I thought the way he stepped up, delivered those passes, the Mark Andrews touchdown pass over the middle was a thing of beauty. I thought it was his best game yet, throwing from the pocket.
Yeah, and to pick up on that, Ryan, I mean, I truly believe that Lamar Jackson has a chance in his career to become one of the best passers in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I believe that he has made so much improvement so quickly. I just feel that if you close your eyes and you just see these passes that he's throwing this year, people, they no longer talk about his passing being a liability. And he's 22 years old. So, I feel that one aspect of his game that was supposed to be a weakness or certainly a question mark could become an elite level.
You know what set off alarms, I think, around other places in the NFL? Those 2 little steps he took up. You know, over and again in this game on Sunday. Watch, he's in the back. The pressure's coming. He does exactly what a pocket passer is supposed to do.
Awareness.
Just 2 steps up, and then he delivers the ball. Those 2 little steps, I think around the NFL, they're all going, whoa, because that is classic pocket passing. And suddenly,
Tom Brady.
It's Tom Brady,
right.
And he did it in that game.
All right, third down. The reason this was a blowout, as John pointed out, was to play the defense. And Cliff, it's been an ongoing project. In the last 5 games prior to this one, you started to see this is a top 10 unit, and this was probably, I'll let you describe it, their best performance, especially with what they were able to do on the back end and what that allowed the pass rush to do to Watson. He doesn't lose games like this going back to high school.
Right.
If you look at his numbers, he's never blown out.
Right, no question. I mean, if you think of like a house that, the defense was being built like a house this year with a lot of new parts, you're seeing the house getting almost completed now. That it looks good.
New kitchen.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
don't go down that. Too many projects at home, Cliff.
Exactly. So, sorry, Ryan. So yeah, I definitely feel that the Ravens are set up now to play their best defensive football going forward. To me, this isn't a mirage. It's a defense on the rise.
Yeah, to me, the offense, we all knew was championship caliber, that this offense could win you a division title, an AFC title, and even a Super Bowl. Now, the defense, you look at it, you say, you know what? I think this defense is championship caliber as well, and that's saying a lot considering all the pieces they've plugged in.
All right, 4th down. John, your initial thought on a trip out west, which can be a challenge, Monday night, the bright lights, and then a team in LA who has not played up to expectations but still has a bunch of talent.
I think probably a lot of us, when you pencil in the games, right, when you look at this schedule, think, it's probably a loss. I'm talking about before the season when the Rams coming off, they were in the Super Bowl last year, and they look good, but they're not looking as good. The Ravens are looking better, way more winnable than I would think even a month ago. I'd be surprised if the Ravens don't pull this one out.
I kind of like the Ravens going on the road in this scenario where they're the enemy again. After all the talk all week is going to be about how they're atop the power rankings and Super Bowl contenders and all that rah stuff around Baltimore. Then they have to go on the road and they're not going to feel like the home team there. Although I'm sure there's going to be some Ravens fans going out. But I like that. I like their personality on the road.
Yeah, I like the Ravens in prime time, and now they have a star who you want to see in prime time. I think they respond well to situations like that. I expect them to play well. I expect the Rams to play well too. I think it's going to be a really good game, but the Ravens, I think, are going to play well enough to win it.
Not a shootout.
Oh. Yeah? You want to make your prediction?
No.
You don't,
Not a shootout.
You've got so much equity in this business and in this building. You're just fine. Okay. Everyone has a tough week. Off and running here on Unscripted. Love it or hate it. Coming up. Well, after 6 straight wins, I can't imagine there's much hate, but maybe we'll find out something different as we run through some topics here, guys. Love it or hate it, a staple of Unscripted. First up, the offensive line is the Ravens' most overperforming unit. Cliff, I'll start with you. Love it or hate that idea?
I do love it, but they have so many units that, to me, are kind of overperforming. You got inside linebackers to go on with guys who weren't even on the team before the season started. But I do think that the offensive line was the target area before the season where, what's going to happen with the offensive line? Who's going to start at left guard? Are they going to be good enough to run this offense that Greg Roman wanted to run? Well, they've checked every box. I mean, obviously having, to me, a future Hall of Famer in Marshall Yanda helps. Ronnie Stanley, to me, a Pro Bowl left tackle having his best season. Those are good foundations to start with, but they have turned what was supposed to be or possibly a liability to me into a strength.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it too. I definitely love that idea. I mean, I think it's pretty clear. Just go back a couple of weeks before the Patriots game. I remember reading a lot of analysis in New England and maybe some fans saying they're gonna hit them where they're weak, at left guard and center. That's where the Chargers did in the playoffs last year. It's going to be a problem. Well, how did that go? I mean, not well. It's been Bradley Bozeman has stepped up at left guard. Matt Skura at center, having a strong year. And aside from the guys who were really strong and leading the way, so it's a very, very strong unit.
Yeah, and more than anything, just continuity and the ability to have all those guys
Speaks
healthy
to continuity.
Over the course of the first 11 weeks of the season. Next up, this is an idea that I do think there is some credence to this, Ryan. The idea that the Ravens are peaking at an inopportune time. That's probably a stretch, but basically, there's still a lot of season left, and they look to be hitting on all cylinders. Any thought to love or hate the idea that they're peaking too early?
I'm going to hate this one. I mean, what, should they play worse so that, they play their best games in week 16 and 17? I mean,
it's just a funny study, in the Ravens of 2012 are the prime example of this. Often teams that win a Super Bowl are the ones that have a lull, and then they catch fire in late November, early December, which, look, we're creeping into.
Yeah, I mean, I just always think, and this is John Harbaugh's special here. You just get better one game at a time, and keep stacking days, And the Ravens have stacked a lot of days, and they've gotten really good. I think there's still room to improve here. I know that the defense and offense are both playing extremely well, but there's things that they can certainly clean up. The Texans game could have gone a different direction if Marlon Humphrey gets flagged for PI on their second drive of the game, first or second. So anyway, there's things to improve on. Special teams has room to improve. The offense still has room to improve. They all do. So I'm just not buying that, I'm worried that they're playing too well. I'm sorry. I'm not going to say that I'm concerned about that.
Yeah, I mean, if peaking too early means you get a first-round bye, I'll take that.
Exactly.
Yeah, if peaking too soon, it means that, you can skip that and go on and have only 2 games to get to a Super Bowl. I'll take that. And like you said, this team, to me, I don't think it has reached its peak. Health has a lot to do with sometimes when you peak, too. So I like the Ravens. So far, getting Jimmy Smith back, I think, has been key. They're still, to me, in a way, not having figured out everything they want to do with all their pieces. Even offensively, every week, we see a new wrinkle from this team. So that makes me feel less worried about, we've seen all the Ravens have.
They've emptied the cupboard.
We have.
Right.
All right, natural transition here, John. Then love or hate that the Ravens are the best team in the NFL right now?
I love it. I think it's true. There is.
Who else is in that discussion for you?
Well, 49ers, look, they have 1 loss. I mean, they're teams with better records. The Patriots, the Ravens whipped the Patriots, okay. That team with a better record. The 49ers,
we'll see in a couple weeks.
Couple of weeks, good game
New
here.
Orleans Saints and
they struggled. They beat Arizona, 2 out of the last 3 weeks or some tough games, right? So, I mean, there are other good teams, but, I mean, nobody has if you're talking about the best team in the NFL right now that's just obliterating everybody, including good teams, yes, I think it's an easy call that they're the best teim in the NFL right now.
The Seattle Seahawks would be in that conversation too, and the Ravens went out to their place, one of the hardest stadiums to win in the NFL, and beat them. I think the Ravens have the best offense in the league. They have the MVP in my mind in the league. The defense, like we've talked about, is getting better. The coaching is obviously top-notch in the NFL. Special teams, you have the best kicker in the league. How are the Ravens not the best team in the league? They're crushing all the other really good teams in the league right now.
Yeah, I think if you took a secret ballot among the coaches and said, all right, neutral site, which team would you least like to play? I think the Ravens would be the winner. Yep. You might get some votes for the Patriots. You'd probably get some for the 49ers. But the Ravens present so many problems as an opponent. And I think that is always going to be true with this offense and the problems, obviously, that Lamar can create. I mean, that's been one of the things with the Patriots. Obviously, great team, great quarterback, great coach. You never know exactly what you're going to get when you play them because they always have something new that can hurt you. Well, I think the Ravens are that team, too. It's hard to figure out how you're going to beat them because even once you prepare, when the game starts, they throw things at you that cause problems. So, yeah, I do believe right now they're the best team in the NFL.
And there's no preparing for Lamar Jackson. Nobody knows. They can't. You can't prepare for Lamar Jackson because you don't have anybody on your team that is anything like him on your scout team.
Well, a lot of love on this couch, as you would expect after 6 straight wins. More Unscripted coming up after this. Welcome back. We've moved from the couch to the big screen, so that probably means it's time for Mailbag. You can tweet us your question using the hashtag #RavensMailbag, and the guys will answer them. First up, this was the long one for Ryan Mink. Who's done a more masterful job this year? Martindale with the immense turnover and still producing a formidable defense after 11 weeks, or Roman for making an MVP candidate with a supporting cast of relatively little notoriety / experience outside of Yanda and Ingram? So basically, who's done it better?
Yeah. This is a tough one because both have done an excellent job this year, but I'm going to go with Greg Roman. I mean, he's captain of the #1 offense in the NFL, top in scoring. Really, we talked about a revolution before the season started, and it's happened. The revolution is here, and Greg has created an offense that through 10 games, nobody has cracked the code to yet. Everybody's still trying to figure this out, and it doesn't look like they're going to find a solution.
All right, let's keep them rolling. Next tweet up here, next question. Who's the biggest remaining threat on the schedule to keep the Ravens from getting the 1 seed or that first-round bye that's so critical, Cliff?
Yeah, I think the toughest game on their schedule left is San Francisco when they come in a couple of weeks from now. I think they have the defensive front it could maybe slow down the Ravens' running attack. But I'm tempted to answer this question by saying the Ravens' biggest opponent is themselves now. I feel like if they come to play every week, which they have for the last 6 weeks, it's going to be tough for anyone to beat them. They've done a great job, one game at a time. We're all trying to look ahead to what they're going to do, how many wins are they going to have. But the key for the Ravens is take it one game at a time, as they've been doing. I think they can beat anyone, anytime on the rest of their schedule.
All right, final question for one John Eisenberg. What position, as we look ahead, will the Ravens attempt to address first during the 2020 draft, John?
Well, first off, before I answer that, don't you love the omnipresence of the draft? We cannot not get away from draft conversation. Having this big season, everyone's
I'll
a
take
buzz
a
and
mock
everything.
draft pretty
Let's
much
talk
any day of the
draft.
week.
Mock draft. Are you mocking one today? No.
You know,
I don't know.
I might.
I mean, it's never the wrong time for that. However, I think we're looking at a pass rusher. I think that's the position. You watch the Ravens this year. Of course, the defense, as we've said, has come on so strong. It's doing so great. But I think it would benefit from having just some stud outside linebacker that can win one-on-one battles and be that guy that rushes the passer. I mean, the pass rush is doing much better coming off a 7-sack game. Seems kind of crazy, but I think that would really lift the whole defense.
Yeah, I was going to say quarterback or tight end, Mink, but I think they might have that covered.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting also what happens with Matthew Judon is going to impact that. If the Ravens can't retain their best pass rusher, the need is going to be glaring there.
Very big.
Keep those questions coming using the hashtag Ravens Mailbag. More Unscripted coming up after this. No better way to close out the show than with Soapbox. If you've watched Unscripted, you've seen it before. It's 30 seconds for each guy on the couch to step in front of the spotlight and wax poetic about something that they're happy about, frustrated about. Mink, we'll wait for yours. Cliff, you're up first. Oh, and I've got this bell here to signify a start and a finish. So 3, 2, and 1.
Well, let me start this soapbox by saying that Marcus Peters did not pay me for the soapbox, but I believe that the Ravens need to lock up Marcus Peters to a long-term contract and keep him in a Ravens uniform for the next few years. He's been a great addition to the defense, obviously, with 2 pick-6. Putting him in that secondary makes the Ravens, in my opinion, the best secondary in the NFL.
10 seconds.
And he's not going to forget how to intercept passes. Someone's going to pay him.
3,
Let it be
2,
the
and
Ravens.
1.
All right.
All
Okay.
right, Cliff
All
hitting
right.
the post,
I like
as we
it.
call it.
I
Not
like
a
it.
sponsored segment.
Yeah, I might be stealing
It might be
that.
sponsored by Marcus Peters.
Well,
You're right.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a good argument. Obviously, Marcus Peters has totally changed this defense. Jimmy Smith, his contract expires after this season. If he's gone, do you look at Marcus Peters and say, hey, that's going to be the next guy we spend the money
It paid
on?
off Sunday. Mink, don't use up all your energy,
Sorry.
though, man. You gotta hit the podium here, or the
All right.
imaginary podium. So 3, 2, and 1.
The Ravens' offensive revolution is real. When the Ravens kind of boasted about that this offseason, that they were going to change the game and change the way offense was played, a lot of people kind of snickered and said, maybe you're getting a little ahead of yourself. The Ravens were absolutely right. I think this offense right now is unstoppable. The way they run the football, they can attack you in so many different ways. Hey, let Lamar run. I have a feeling at any point Lamar can
10
pull the
seconds.
ball and beat you. With the running game with Gus Edwards and Mark Ingram, they can beat you that way. Oh, you want to take away the ground game? We'll hit the tight
3,
ends in so many different
2,
ways. Even the wide
and
receivers
1.
are making plays now. Unstoppable.
The revolution is televised. You got some passion.
Always. Always.
But specific to this, it feels like this is one of those things where you're glad that this building was right.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, like I said, I think at Soapbox at the beginning of the year, I've watched the Ravens for a long time since I was a little kid. I have seen a lot of offense that was not that exciting. And to me, I still have to pinch myself that the Ravens have the most exciting offense in the NFL, #1 offense in the NFL, led by an MVP quarterback. I'm like, is this real? Is this really happening right now? Yes, believe it. It's happening.
You're not dreaming.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I think John's going to close us out with a continuation of this positivity.
Yes,
And maybe some
indeed.
forecasting
Indeed.
here.
Indeed.
Airbnb could possibly come up. All right, John, 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah, my message is to Ravens fans. If you're a Raven fan, and I've heard from so many of you as this winning streak has gone on, there have been so many question marks still. It's like, okay, you beat Seattle. People say, well, can they beat New England? You beat New England, they say, well, can they stay consistently strong like that? Keep coming, beat Cincinnati. You keep hearing, well, there's always, can they win on the road? Can they win trap games? Can they do
10
this?
seconds.
It's always, can they do that? The reality, there's a long way to go in this season, but we have seen enough, all right?
3,
this is a team
2,
that can go to the
and
Super Bowl,
1.
and it's just time to accept it.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Super Bowl talk. I mean,
Yeah.
it is week 12, and it feels like this team has the potential. So, guys, final thought here as you get set for a trip out to LA.
Well, I think that what the Ravens have done now sets them up to where if they don't get a first round bye now, it's a disappointment. So the goal now for them, to me, that's where the bar is set. Gain a first round bye, something they've rarely had, something that I think really would improve their chances to talk about the elephant in the room going to the Super Bowl. I think that they have embraced it. They're in position to do it. So the last 6 games are about locking up one of those first 2 spots.
It's
Guys,
the biggest
quickly.
spotlight in the NFL. Let's watch the star Lamar Jackson take over.
Yeah, I think it's a winnable game, on Monday night. And, there's, 6 games left in the regular season? People said, can they run the table? I don't know whether they can run the table, but they're good, all right? They're going to win a lot of these games, and that's where we are right now.
Friendly reminder, Pro Bowl voting is open. You can head to NFL.com/Pro Bowl vote to vote in your favorite Raven. Guys, always fun to be with you. Those that are heading to LA, enjoy the sunshine. We'll see you back here next week for more Unscripted.